Most actors who land a major role in a hit show like Dexter usually use it as a launch pad, leading to bigger roles, red carpet appearances, and a steady climb through Hollywood. But with Desmond Harrington, that momentum just ended up concluding far sooner than many might have thought. Despite having the chiseled look of a star that reached its peak in the early 2010s, Harrington's appearance has been brought up throughout the internet more recently and has raised concerns within the Dexter community that question what the hell happened. In an Instagram post that has since been deleted, Desmond Harrington responds to all the questions regarding his weight loss, in which we see just how kind and humble he really is.
Yeah, they want to know, and they check in. And, I thought to myself, my God, that's lovely that someone would maybe ask me how I'm doing. So, how are you? And to answer your question, everything's been great.
In a more recent interview that was done for the Dexter Original Sin After Show, we see that despite his role of Joey Quinn being his largest and most iconic role, he still shows great appreciation and gratitude for all the support he has gotten over the years.
So now, with Resurrection on the horizon, can we expect Quinn to make an appearance?
I will not say a fucking word.
Jesus Christ.
I'm joking.
Although for the most part, Harrington has kept a low profile on social media platforms such as Instagram, once you learn about the personal struggles he's had to endure and the humble kindness that is often overlooked when it comes to his character as a person, you will truly understand why Desmond Harrington seemingly vanished from the spotlight when he had it all. Desmond Harrington was born on October 19th, 1976. Raised by his father Michael and his mother Mary, he grew up in the Bronx. Now, although in the present day the Bronx is not looked at as the best place on earth, back when Harrington was growing up, the place was far worse than you could imagine. Surrounded by abandoned buildings, rising crime, and the height of the drug epidemic, Harrington came of age in a city that felt forgotten. Fires, poverty, and violence weren't rare, they were normal. And yet from this chaos also came resilience. The streets he walked were dangerous, but they also birthed a cultural revolution, with hip-hop and street art becoming survival tools for expression. In many ways, Harrington's tough, closed-off demeanor and his later version of fame makes a lot more sense when you understand the harsh environment he was raised in. Prior to acting, he worked as a laborer, landscaper, a cold caller at a brokerage firm, and a bartender in Manhattan, where a coworker invited him to attend an acting class. This would spark a newfound passion for art Harrington had been waiting for his entire life. Desmond Harrington's path to his first film role wasn't just unexpected, it was cinematic in and of itself. At 22, he was just another aimless kid from Kingsbridge, a rough Irish working class pocket of the Bronx. He'd bounced around jobs, laborer, landscaper, waiter, bartender, and dropped out of Manhattan College after barely 6 weeks. I was floating, he admitted, going nowhere in a hurry. That drift ended when he crossed paths with acting teacher Ed Covings, who pushed him towards HB Studios in Manhattan. There, fate struck again in the form of talent manager Stephanie Simon, who saw something magnetic in Harrington, despite him having 0 acting credits and only a forgotten high school play to his name. Taking a chance, Simon sent him on an audition for The Messenger, Story of Joan of Arc. Helmed by famed director Luc Besson, Harrington nervously sat in front of a camera and simply talked about himself, thinking the whole thing went nowhere. But out of 350 hopefuls, he was one of just 3 called back. Weeks later, the real turning point came. A phone call asking if he could fly to Normandy that night to audition in person for Besson. He landed in France, trained with horses, read scenes, and poured every ounce of energy into convincing Besson he was right for the part. 3 days later, Besson called, "Good, it's yours." Just like that, a kid from the Bronx with no formal training was cast opposite Mila Jovovich, filming in the Czech mountains in 60 pounds of armor. Harrington would go on to land roles in Boiler Room, My First Mister, and more. But it was that leap of faith, that whirlwind from waiting tables to medieval battle scenes, that marked the true beginning of his Hollywood journey. Years later, as his acting experience progressed, Harrington would land the role of Kenneth in Love Object, in which the plot was the following. Kenneth is a socially awkward office worker who has little experience with romance. He buys a lifelike doll in an attempt to rid him of his loneliness, but soon finds there may be a darker side to Nikki. And although this movie and its odd premise didn't perform like anything out of the ordinary, Desmond Harrington's acting skills would be brought to the spotlight as he would come to win his first ever award in 2004 for Best Actor at the Malaga International Week of Fantastic Cinema event. Now, although he would go on to get small roles in movies and shows here and there following the years to come, in 2009, he would be given two iconic roles that would essentially follow him for the rest of his life. Desmond Harrington joined Dexter in season 3, stepping into the role of Detective Joseph Joey Quinn, and eventually appearing in 72 episodes. He brought to the role a gritty blue-collar authenticity, something he could embody naturally, having grown up around cops in the Bronx. And although most of the fan base can agree the quality of Dexter and its characters drop in later seasons, Joey Quinn was one of those characters that actually brought something new and refreshing to the screen despite the poor storylines. And the nominations he got for it objectively show how much fans and critics truly enjoyed him. For a total of 4 years, Harrington would consecutively be nominated for Outstanding Performance by an ensemble in a drama series, whom he shared with the rest of the Dexter cast for the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Around the same time that he was giving an outstanding performance on Dexter, he also got a role on another very popular TV show, Gossip Girls. Desmond Harrington joined Gossip Girl in December 2008, stepping into the role of Jack Bass, Chuck's manipulative, troublemaking uncle, initially appearing in season 2's In the Realm of the Basses. He returned as a recurring villain through seasons 3 to 5, appearing in about 11 episodes. In an interview with Assignment X, Harrington joked that he did Gossip Girl again. "I'm Chuck Bass's uncle, and I kind of come in and ruin this kid's life every season." Fans also remembered him well. One Redditor described his Jack Bass as slimy and diabolic, yet also hit all the comedic notes too. His cameo brought a darkly charming energy to the Upper East Side and showed his range beyond Dexter. After his memorable run as Detective Joey Quinn on Dexter, Desmond Harrington's life and career took a quieter, more complicated turn. While many of his co-stars landed consistent roles post-finale, Harrington's presence on screen began to fade. One of the most talked about changes was his dramatic weight loss during the later seasons of Dexter, which sparked a wave of speculation online. Fans questioned whether it was due to illness, addiction, or cosmetic procedures. Eventually, Harrington did address the rumors directly. "I didn't have any plastic It's called running and eating better," he told E! News, pushing back against the wild theories circulating at the time. Despite his clarification, concerns persisted, especially as he became increasingly private. He rarely gave interviews, pulled back from public appearances, and even wiped most of his social media presence. On Reddit, longtime fans still ask what happened to him, with one thread noting, "I don't know. I remember way back during the final seasons of Dexter where people were commenting on his weight loss and speculating about drugs like he just didn't look healthy, and they caked a ton of makeup on him in those final couple seasons to try and make him look normal, and it was just really obvious something wasn't right. But I remember at the time I didn't want to speculate, as it could be a private health matter such as cancer." Also adding, "If he chose to just walk away from acting, fair enough, but combined with his drastic and unhealthy looking physical changes and some of the street wandering photos he used to post, I almost wonder if the guy is homeless or something." Though he did land a few recurring TV roles in Elementary and Gossip Girl, none of them matched the spotlight he'd had on Dexter. While Harrington hasn't publicly spoken about any personal struggles or a deliberate exit from Hollywood, the combination of his sudden physical transformation and retreat from the public eye paints a picture of someone who may have been navigating more than just career choices. Whether it was burnout, a desire for privacy, or simply the unpredictability of the industry, Harrington's post-Dexter years remain a mystery, one that only adds to the intrigue of an actor who once seemed poised for much more. However, more recently with the airing of Dexter Resurrection, Harrington has been brought back to his iconic role of Joey Quinn, and it's almost like he never left. When the show was originally announced, Quinn in specific was one of those characters fans were begging for to return, despite him being heavily present in those later disliked seasons. This in and of itself goes to show how much Dexter fans appreciated his character and the amount of screen presence he truly holds within the already stacked cast. From what we saw of him in episode 3 of Dexter Resurrection, he appears to be looking more like his old self, considering it's been over a decade since we last saw him in Joey Quinn's footsteps. In an interview with Batista's character, he explained that sharing a scene with Harrington and as well C.S. Lee was a lot of fun. These are characters that I spent many years with, and it was a joy too. You can do a show, and the one thing about doing a show like this, it becomes like a family. That doesn't go away. You cannot see somebody for 2-3 years, and then when you're back with them, all that comes back. So that's how I felt with Desmond and C.S. Lee, and doing that scene, I really feel it's back on the same level. This touches on the idea of Desmond Harrington's ability as an actor to hop right back into the shoes of a character he hadn't played for over 10 years. And as well shows his humble love towards the Dexter franchise as a whole, agreeing to cameo no matter the cost. Now after hearing all this, you might be thinking that Desmond Harrington simply disappeared because he couldn't keep up with Hollywood, that he faded out because he didn't chase the fame hard enough, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Harrington's journey isn't one of failure, it's one of restraint. He didn't cling onto the spotlight or force a comeback just to stay relevant. Instead, he stepped away, stayed quiet, and possibly chose peace over pressure. Despite being part of a cultural phenomenon like Dexter, he never really capitalized on it the way others might have. No podcasts, no telads, limited social media presence, and maybe that's what makes him so interesting. He never let Hollywood define him. Even at his peak, he stayed grounded, and after all these years, it's clear that he wasn't in it for the clout. Desmond Harrington remains somewhat of a mystery, but maybe that's the point. He didn't sell out or burn out, he just walked away. And that, in its own way, is a kind of artistic integrity that Hollywood rarely sees anymore.